All right, what is going on, guys? It is time for another episode of the Chasing Waypoints podcast. And, well, we're back in the bivouac. We're going to be talking a little bit more about going to Dakar. And this time around, we're a little bit different, right? You guys know, we focus on the motos. We show a lot of moto love. That is primarily all of our guests and where they focus on and then what we do. But this time we're doing something a little bit different. Daniel Gonzalez is going to be on the air with us today. Talking Dakar Rally, talking Rally Raid, and talking about the golf carts, the UTVs. A little bit different, right? You got a lot of UTVs out there. I know. Hey, motos, quads, I know there's some love-hate relationship there. I know the UTVs bleed into that, but you know what? It is the Dakar Rally. It is a challenge, and, well, if it's on 2 wheels or 4 wheels, there's always something going on. So that is what we can be talking about today. Mr. Daniel Gonzalez here. Originally ran into him at the Sonora Rally. We'll let him talk about his experience there and the results. But yeah, looking to have fun. How's everybody doing? Have you already been on, or have you already gone to the website and signed up for the newsletter? Are you part of the Bivouac newsletter yet? You should be. If you haven't already, you get on over to the ChasingWaypoints.com website. Scroll on down and you'll see it right there. It is sign up for the newsletter. Just drop an email address in and we'll get you signed up. And, well, the game plan on that one, very, very simple. We're going to try and get you guys in front of future guests so we know who's coming up. See what questions you guys may have for those guys. Suggestions, things like that. Maybe even some show previews before the rest of the world gets to hear it. And, we'll see where it goes from there. Get some contests going and some more stuff. So, anyway, let's start working our way over to our guest so we can talk a little bit more about Rally Raid and the Dakar Rally. That is an awesome accomplishment. Not everybody gets in. I did see a shout out. I'm not sure if he's tuned in. Hector Guerrero, out of the Guanajuato area, Mexico, also posted a few weeks back getting his acceptance letter into the Dakar. So those are all coming up soon. We'll be talking to more of our guests as we count down. We are getting close to the Dakar Rally. But before we go to the Dakar Rally, of course, there's the Baja Rally. There is all sorts of stuff going on. I'm recording this just the week before we go out. And down there, spend a few days down in the Baja California deserts on the peninsula. All right. So let's get here we go. We're going to be calling him here in just a second. Probably start turning down the party so we don't blow his eardrums off when we call. Let's see here. Move that on over. The GTR team. And let's see. All right. Let's give him a call here. See if he's ready for us.
Hello?
Daniel?
Yeah.
Hey, can you hear me?
Victor.
Hey, how's it going? How are you?
Doing good.
Excellent. Coffee's ready? Everything's good to go?
Yeah, we're all good.
Nice, very nice. So, the big news already, right? I heard Lizzie helped connect us. I already heard the news. Dakar Rally 2024?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, we got the news around 3 weeks ago that, actually it was like a surprise when they told me that we were already in the Dakar.
Oh, really? Tell me, how did that go down? What happened?
Okay, so I got a crazy friend, and so he's actually we all do, right? Yeah. But he's actually the person that involved us in racing UTVs. It all started when, 9 years ago? Mm-hmm. When Darren Skilton, when I met Darren Skilton, he told us that he was going to do a rally here in the state of Sonora, Mexico. Mm-hmm. And we were like, well, first of all, who is this guy? And then, yeah. And then we were like, okay, what does he want to do in our backyard? I mean, who is he? I mean, what does he think? I mean, how is he just going to come in and do an event in Sonora, in our desert, without like telling us first, the locals, what he's planning to do? And back then it was actually called Rally Diabólico. So diabolic rally, right? Yeah. And so I met him. I sent him an email and asked him, I mean, what are your plans? I mean, what are you actually trying to do? And he decided that he wanted to meet me, and he wanted to meet our friends, and he wanted to come down for one of our main events that we do here as locals, called the Travesias. So a Travesía is actually where a whole bunch of 4x4 cars and back then it wasn't actually UTVs. I mean it was just cars, like Ford Broncos, Jeeps, K5 Blazers, whole bunch of different models on trucks. We would just go to the dunes. We would spend the night over there, do like 25, 30 different camps all around the desert.
Oh wow.
And just spend the night over there. I mean, I'm talking 600, 700 cars.
Oh, okay. So this isn't a group of buddies.
Oh, no.
Wow.
This is like, I would like to say, it's something that it's been going on for almost 50 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So he emailed me. It was actually, it wasn't a call. It was actually like an email I sent him, and he emailed me back and said, hey, Daniel, I would like to meet you. I would like to, see what the Travesía is about. So I invited him. He came down here in his rally winning Jeep Grand Cherokee, which he won, I think, like the rally from Paris and from China or something, and then like down in South America. And I was like a little bit impressed on his Grand Cherokee. I remember that time that he didn't actually have his 4-wheel drive wasn't working.
Oh, okay.
But I was amazed on how he would go through the dunes. I don't know if you're familiar with the dunes here in the Sonora Desert.
Vaguely.
But they're huge dunes. They're huge dunes. And I remember him going through the dunes like if he was just driving through a crossroad,
Nice.
So, I mean, because of that trip, we became really close friends. We're still really close friends, and he told me, hey, I mean, you as a local, you should get involved in the rally. So that's where my crazy friend comes in. And he said, yeah, we should actually run that. I was like, yeah, but we don't even have a UTV. He said, well, why don't we buy one? I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, and I'm talking, I mean, it's a friend that works with, back then used to work with my brother. So it's a really funny story. They called me up at around 3 a.m. And they said, hey, Daniel, we should run the Rally Diabólico, and why don't you go and try to find us a UTV? I hanged up the phone call. He called me like 2 minutes later again, and he said, hey, I'm serious. Why don't you get us a UTV? I'm like, yeah, I'll call you up in the morning.
Yeah.
I hang up the phone call again, and he calls me again like 2 minutes later. And he's like, are you looking for the UTV already? I'm like, Jorge, it's 3 in the freaking morning. I mean, come on. See, I'm like, hold on. I mean, I'll call you in the morning. So, they do buy a UTV. They actually bought 2 UTVs. And we went from San Luis all the way across the desert to El Golfo de Santa Clara, which is the beach close by for us locals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but before we left, we had birria. Birria, you know what it is?
Oh yeah,
shredded meat. Yeah, okay. So we had birria, and it was 4 of us. And out of the 4 of us, I was the only one that did not get sick.
no,
Yeah. So imagine, crossing the desert, throwing up every 5 minutes until we actually got to the town of El Golfo.
yeah,
And yeah, it was crazy.
yeah, that's
And and once we got to El Golfo, they were like, "Oh, this is crazy. I mean, what the hell are we? Are we thinking of?" So we decided just to leave it as a fun thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after, what was it? That was like in 2014, the month of October.
Nice.
And no, actually, no, it was August.
Mm-hmm.
It was August. I remember. I actually remember why it was August, because in September there was going to be the Sand Sports Super Show in California.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the guys that we were buying stuff for our razors from Alba Racing in California, in Santa California, they told us, "Hey, there's a razor for sale. This razor has like the top things and everything. I mean, it's full equipped, it's for sale. Why don't you guys go check it out?" And because the Rally Diabolico got canceled, so they decided that they wanted to run the Baja 1000 in that November, back in 2014.
Just like that.
Yeah, let's just run the Baja 1000. And so unfortunately, we weren't able to buy that razor, and in that day.
Yeah.
So then these guys decided to, let's just wait and see what comes up for the Baja 250, which was jumping the year in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So when the Baja 1000 passed in November, the owner called us and said, "Hey, the razor's up for sale again." So the guys that bought it don't want it anymore. They thought that it was going to be something that they were going to be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to run it in at the Baja 1000, which the Matlocks were the guys where the Wayne Matlock was the guy that was actually driving it.
Mm-hmm.
They had a bunch of issues. Wayne and Chris and Matlock were actually not even into UTVs. I mean, back in that day.
Mm-hmm.
So when it was up for sale again, this guy said, "Okay, let's buy it." Jorge and my brother said, "Let's buy it, and let's get ready for Baja 250." And I was like, "Hey, are you guys sure you want to run the Baja 250? I mean, it's considered the most gnarly and the most difficult course in Score International. I mean, why would you guys want to go into that? Instead of just going to record off road or code off road, which is more like a local,
mm-hmm.
Race, and see if we're really into that. If we really like racing UTVs."
Yeah.
And Jorge is the kind of guy that says, "O todo o nada,"
Mm-hmm.
all in.
Yeah.
So we were in San Diego at the beginning of the year, 2015. It was January,
mm-hmm.
and my brother saw Don Pepe, which Don Pepe is a guy well known in Ensenada for doing preps for race cars and all that.
Okay. And
he just finished like 6 months before that my brother's K5 Blazer.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Which he did a pre-runner out of it. So I mean, my brother saw him and he's like, "Hey, Don Pepe, what's up? Hey, Ruli, what's up?" And he's like, "What are you up to?" And my brother goes, "Oh, we're going to run the Baja 250." And he's like, "For real? Yeah. What are you guys running it?" And my brother goes, "Oh, we just bought a UTV." And Don Pepe was like, "What is that?" "Oh, it's a Razor. It's a Razor 900, 4-seater. It's all modified and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to race in that." And my brother goes, "Do you have any plans?" And Don Pepe says, "No, not really." And, "Okay, would you like to, go with us, help us out, and, all the courses and, the people, you know everything about Baja." And Pepe says, "Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll help you guys out." And that's actually when it started. That's actually when Geek Racing started out.
Yeah.
As an adventure, as a bucket list check, just check and mark it, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got really hooked. We got really hooked into Baja, and we finished the Baja 250, which no one thought it was going to be possible for us because we didn't know crap about UTVs. We didn't even know how to change a belt. We didn't. I mean, all we knew is that it needed gasoline. Turn it on and let's go. And we finished the Baja 250, and they say, "Well, I mean, we finished, so it seems not like a big deal. Let's just go for the Baja 500," which was back then. It was the Baja Sur. It was when the Baja 500 was in South Baja.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually the first Baja Sur 500, and it was actually the only one. After that, they never made that Baja 500 again. And we just kept going, Baja 500, and then we went to the Baja 500 in Ensenada, and then we went to the Desert Challenge, which back then it was in Imperial Valley in California.
Yeah,
it wasn't the Baja 400 like we just ran a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Desert Challenge in Imperial Valley, and we just kept going and going and going until these guys said, "Hey, Daniel, you need to learn everything that needs to be learned about the UTVs." So I would go to Alba Racing in San Diego and in Santa California,
mm-hmm.
and I would just be in the garage learning about the UTVs because I mean we plan on keep running either one race or the other. If it was code, if it was record, if it was score, just run and participate in different courses and different competitions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I also got something hit me and said, "You know what? This is going to be a business. This is going to become a business. This is going to be something that in the future, in 3, 4 years, 5 years, it's going to be like a boom. It's something that's going to become really, really large as a business. It's going to, a lot of people are going to go into UTVs because it's going to be something that's more, instead of, doing a pre-runners and doing a whole bunch of modifications to their trucks, they're just going to go buy UTV."
Yeah.
And that's how GR UTV began, which is my business.
Yeah. Well, and that's an interesting point that you caught on early to that, because I remember back around the UTV boom when the Yamaha Rhino was the thing to have. I remember I used to work for Mendiola, and Sand Show was all sand rails, 4-seaters, 2-seaters, that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, it's like from one year to the next, half the show was UTV, and then the next year the show was pretty much all UTVs. There was hardly any, and they're all Rhinos. So yeah, that's an interesting. Like, you caught it right at the beginning.
Yeah, it was in 2015. I mean, when the XP 1000 was only a few months old, friends from here from San Luis started buying the XP 1000,
mm-hmm.
and we were the only ones that either owned the UTV or actually use the UTV to compete, you know, like in score and other races. So they started calling me and, hey, Daniel, do you know what we got to do to put the 30-inch tires? Or do you know what we got to do to make it run faster? Do you know what we got to do? And I knew because Alba Racing, you know, taught me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And after, you know, 10, 15 locals, you know, called me and told me, hey, do you know what to do? Do you know that like I said, you know, that's when I said, this is going to be a business.
Yeah.
This is going to become a business. So fortunately, our family owned a shop already.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a, you know, like a Oil Change Express, Jiffy Lube, Beveline Express sort of shop.
Mm-hmm.
And we did alignments, we did suspension work, we did not like modified suspension, just, you know, normal suspension work on cars and brake jobs and sorry. And so when that started slowing down, I would go work at my dad's house and his backyard, and work on UTVs for friends and our UTVs. And when it started slowing down at the shop, I started bringing the UTVs to our shop. I was like, okay, I don't have enough time to start another shop. I would just bring the UTVs to that shop.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that's when GR UTV started out. You know, GR stands for two things: Geek Racing, which is our team's name. Geek because my brother and Jorge are geeks. I mean, they're just practically geeks. They're not nerds; they're geeks. Yeah, and so that's I actually named the team. I was like, so what's going to be the team's name? And I'm like, well, I mean, you guys are geeks, so let's just call it Geek Racing.
Yeah,
and they're like, okay, yeah, let's go for that. And GR also stands for my the first letters of my last names, Gonzalez Reina.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, is it something that just, you know, natural came up? It is. I mean, because I mean, I never thought of it until like way after, you know, hey, it actually stands for my last name and it actually stands for Geek Racing, which is how we started out.
Nice. It's just kind of that happy coincidence.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And after like in about 2017, what happened is that because of their jobs, they weren't able to keep on, you know, participating in races. I kept going, and we started racing in code off-road, and we won that championship. I was actually one of the first guys to me and 4 other people started out the UTV racing here in Mexico.
Oh, okay. So kind of the pioneers, well, especially in San Luis, right? I mean, in that area or the peninsula.
Especially in San Luis, but no, actually it was in the Baja Peninsula. We started out, you know, the like you said, it was the Rhinos, it was you know, those Yamahas and all that 600 UTVs. But no, when the XP 1000 came out, that's when the whole thing changed. I mean, everything changed. And then in 2016, it wasn't just an XP 1000. It was an XP Turbo. Now they came up with turbos. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it started just growing and growing and growing. And Code Off Road, we told Joaquin, which he's the owner and the founder of Cody. We told him, hey, would you mind opening up a class for us? Mm-hmm. You know, we don't just want to go to score. I mean, we would like to open up the class here and Code is something more local, something, you know, that a lot of people that already own racers would like to participate, but I mean, it's too expensive to go to score international and race, which still is. So he said that, yeah, let's do it. I just met him. I was just with him like 2 weeks ago. talking about the new class that we want to open for 2024 in UTV, and he's like, Daniel, remember when 7-8 years ago you called me up and told me about the UTVs, and I was like a little bit, yeah, sure. I mean, if you guys want to run. And it was me, and it was one of the owners of Polaris Baja. He owns like 4 dealerships for Polaris. And it was Aníbal Lopez, which he's my partner in crime right now for racing for Polaris Mexico.
Nice.
And that's when I met Aníbal.
Yeah.
And then it was I wouldn't remember the other guy that started out racing. It was we call him Aguila. And that's when UTV racing started also like more as a local, less expensive. It was the shops started working on UTVs down in Mexicali, Ensenada. And I was already working on them, but I wasn't doing any fab. I was just working in clutches and doing tunings and stuff like that. And then we go. I
was gonna say.
Then after that,
that's an interesting. Like, there's not. That's how it. How it blew up. It was one of those things that you could walk into a shop. And, you could walk into a power sports place, pick up a razor, and, you could literally go drive it like if it was a built pre-runner to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And then to go racing, it really wasn't that much more that you needed. Yeah, it's not like a 5/1600 or 5/1600 or a class 11. It's pretty much off the showroom floor. You could go out and go out and compete, obviously with just a couple of safety additions, but I think that's probably made it a lot easier.
Yeah. And we also started, showing that, it was like the best value on the cost of, how much would it cost to run a razor, and how fast could you go on a razor? So it was like the best value for racing back then. Yeah. Right now, like the Pro Rs are, if you want to build like a fully built race Pro R 4-cylinder, the new one that came out, it's going to cost you more than a 1600. It's going to cost you more than a I think even a 1200. Yeah. But because the competition is just, way up there for UTV racing. Now you see 60, 70 razors down here at a SCORE international event. If you go to a Best in the Desert, and Nevada or, Arizona, how many UTVs do you see? 100 UTVs competing against each other. It's just crazy, Yeah. And, God bless me and showing me that path in that business, and I kept going and going. And I was actually one of the first, or I want to say like the first 3 shops in all this region that started out, not only competing, but working on razors. Nice. And, I remember also that Darren used to call them lavadoras, the washing machines.
I'm used to calling them golf carts now.
Yeah, and golf carts, yeah. And he would say, what would you actually run in one of those? And I was like, hey, you're gonna see. And, wait and just wait. And I remember him telling me that he was at a Baja 1000 running this trophy truck, and he would see these lights behind him at the race, just on his back bumper, and until he said, you know what, I'm just going to let this car go through past me. And he realized it was actually Wayne Matlock passing him in his UTV, and he was running a trophy truck. So he started getting serious about those cars also.
All of a sudden, right? That's the thing, is that they, it's interesting to hear them argue for where in the starting order they are, you know, and nowadays, I mean, I feel like they're competitive, like with class 10 cars, you know, especially the newer Pro R for sure is competitive with the 10 car.
Yeah, they are. And they're actually almost equal at price. I mean, if you want to build a class 10 car and if you want to build a Pro R, I mean, you're almost paying the same amount. So, I mean, besides the price at the floor at the dealerships, I mean, going way up. I mean, but having all these advantages and suspension and technology, you know, smart shocks and all that stuff. I mean, something that you won't see or that you wouldn't see in a class 10 or a class 12 or a 1600 and at the races. I mean, you would see it in a UTV when they came out with the live valving and the Pro XP. You know, it was just such a game changer. You know, it was just something that you would say, why isn't this in these other classes? And that was the reason that people will started buying UTVs to race instead of building up a class 10 or a class 12 or a class 16. I mean, it was such an advantage just, you know, taking the Polaris or the Can-Am off the floor. You already had an advantage. Yeah. You know, 20 something inches of travel, you know, you could go 100 miles per hour in it. It was just such an advantage just buying it at the beginning and just trying to, you know, perfect it to go race instead of starting out with the chassis, you know, like in other classes.
Yeah. Yeah. You could develop the car. You didn't have to okay, well, here's a class 10 car and it's 0 to a class 10 car, not, you know, sportsman to pro to blah, 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 you know, yeah.
So getting back to the rally, I kept on helping out Darren and Scott, Scott and Darren, you know, the founders of the Sonora Rally.
Yeah,
I kept as a local helping them, you know, and get in touch with the mayor, with the local authorities, with the owners of the lands, you know, helping them and get in contact with them so they could do an event. And I remember my first rally that I told them that I wasn't going to be able to help him because I was going to compete. And I couldn't help him, not because I didn't want to. It's just that I couldn't know the course. I wasn't, I mean, if I was going to compete, I couldn't go with him and, you know, and trace the course where it was going to go through and all that, you know. So that 2018, I think in my first day of rally racing, my first actually stage, I think I got penalized with like 40 hours.
Oh,
yeah. It wasn't, I mean, I knew how to drive. I just didn't know how to rally. I didn't know how to read the you know, the road book. And it was actually Don Pepe, the guy I was mentioning to you a few minutes ago. He was my navigator.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, we just didn't know crap about navigating. We just kept following the tracks. But I mean, if we would get into tracks that wasn't actually the race, it was just old tracks from, you know, from locals. I mean, I would just go through that track and like an hour later he would tell me, you know what, we're not on the race course. We're actually, I don't know where. So I would have to go back, you know, until I remember that first stage, Darren called me. I was close to El Golfo, and he said, Daniel, just, you know, you're done. I mean, you're done for the day. Just come to the camp. You know, we're at the Salinas here at Bernie's camp. So just come down here. I mean, stop racing. I'm like, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were way off the map.
I was way off the map. I mean, yeah, it was just crazy. So that's when rally racing started for me. I mean, I wasn't, you know, like mad, or I wasn't, you know, I was like, you know what? I got to learn this. I mean, this is fun. I mean, I got to learn this. So stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5, you know, we kept on learning.
Mm-hmm.
And I started getting more into it. And I was like, you know what? This is actually better than running Baja. I mean, it's the type of racing in rally is being a surprise every foot. You know, every 100 feet that you actually run, I mean, it's a surprise for you because you don't know what's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
All you know is what the roadbook tells you. That's it. And in Baja, I mean, you go pre-run 2-3 times. I mean, if you're gonna co-drive, you get a 200, mile section,
Mm-hmm.
and you go pre-run those 200 miles for 3-4 times.
Yeah.
And you do your newts. You learn where the rock is. You learn where the whoop is. You learn where there's gonna be a cut corner. In rally, you don't. I mean, all you know is if your navigator doesn't know how to read, I mean, you're either going to go off a corner, you're going to hit a rock, you're going to from being sarcastic, but I mean, you can actually have a really bad accident if your navigator doesn't know how to read the book.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
and so.
And then that makes, and that's an interesting point because you get to, like, you think about, like you said, I mean, even if you go and pre-run as a driver at the Baja, right? And you, like you said, you run it a bunch of times, the course, so does the co-driver. So now the co-driver really is just there to push, change flats and remind you, or change a belt and remind you about things that are coming up on the GPS. But in this case, like you're saying in rally, like, you could hit things, you can go off course. And not only that, but it's not just missing the safety in the road book. It's also being off course and not being anywhere near where the road book is. And then it's a washout. And so it's an interesting relationship. The relationship obviously changes a little bit more.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I remember Darren telling me, even though you got the wheel in your hands, you're not in control. You're not the captain of the ship. I mean, the captain of the ship is going to be your navigator.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's the one that's going to say, push it, slow down. There's a danger. There's this, there's that. There's an obstacle on the race course. And I mean, you need to figure that out because, I mean, when you're running Baja, I mean, you're in control. You got the wheel in your hand. I mean, you pre-run the course, so you know where to push it. But in rally, I mean, you really need to know who your guy is going to be to navigate where you don't come into harm. I mean, where you don't have an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Especially.
Yeah.
I mean, being off course, I mean, that's just poor navigating.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to not, smash into a rock, not going to a cliff, not going, not getting lost in the middle of the dunes, that's something that you really have to, be sure that your navigator knows what he's doing. And in this case, Jorge, which he's my, that's when he came back into my racing life because he said, "Hey, we need to run the Sonora Rally." I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And that was after the 2018. I mean, where we just, we were lucky enough to survive in 2018. We actually went over a dune, and me and Pepe me knowing the dunes,
mm-hmm.
I flipped in the dunes. We got stuck there for like almost 3 hours. Everyone was saying, "No, I mean, you're a local, the dunes. I mean, you know how to drive them." I'm like, "Yeah, it's different when you're trying to go top speed in the dunes. I mean, it's just different. I mean, it's not going at 15 miles, 20 miles per hour, and then all of a sudden you get a big, wall of sand, and you got to go through it. But meanwhile, your music is all the way up in your car." You're having a beer with your friend next to you, and you stop for an hour and hang out with your friends. No, I mean, this is racing. I mean, you got to go the fastest you can without having an accident and without going, off trail.
Yeah.
And that's what I've told my friends, and the locals here. When they say, "Nah, you got this." I mean, it's dunes. I mean, you've been in dunes your whole life, and I'm like, "Nah, it's different." I mean,
mm-hmm.
It's different. I've actually gone and practiced with the rally drivers and the dunes, and I just couldn't keep up with them. Mm-hmm. I mean, I knew how to get across the dune. When I would see them getting stuck, I knew how to read the dunes. But when it's race day, you need to go through the dunes, the fastest you can, without going off trail, and especially without having an accident. Yeah. Without flipping the car over or something.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point, because you're not making, when you're out with your friends and you're doing that kind of stuff, you'll check up, you slow down a little bit, you take your time and finding the way around the dune, but that doesn't work obviously it doesn't work for racing. And in racing, you're going to be taking a little bit more, you're going to take a little more of a chance than you would normally, any other day. So that's a good point.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I would, I remember when Wayne and Kristen Matlock and Scanlon came to practice, because they were going to go to the Dakar Rally, mm-hmm. to the Dakar. And Darren told me, Daniel, I mean, yeah, go ahead and practice, but just keep an eye on them. Make sure that they're going through the dunes, make sure that they're going to be able to do the course and not get lost. I'm like, okay. So I remember driving behind them, and all of a sudden, I mean, Jorge was navigating for me, and we would just keep going and going and going. And all of a sudden, I was actually, 2 kilometers in front of him. Mm-hmm. I was like, whoa, hold on. Hey, Jorge, we got to wait for them. And I would see one of them or 2 of them come by, but I wouldn't see the the other UTV. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say which driver, but I wouldn't see the third one mm-hmm. coming through. I was like, where the hell is he? So I would have to go back, find them, and bring them into the course. Hey, this is the way. Or they were stuck, or they had a belt problem, or they had a suspension problem, and I mean, we would just, wait for them. And Jorge said, dude, I mean, we could actually run this. Like, are you sure? He said, yeah. I'm up to it. I mean, I think I can read. Okay. So.
What's going on, guys? Victor with the Chasing Waypoints podcast. All right. Are you looking to promote your brand to a worldwide audience on the podcast? Drop us a line at podcast@chasingwaypoints.com, and let's talk. See what we can do about getting you some more ears for your company and getting the word out worldwide.
Great. I got a phone call in.
No.
Sorry about that. So nice. Jorge was like, yeah, I mean, we could actually run this. I was like, okay, let's go for it. And 2021, mm-hmm. we decided to run the Sonora Rally as a competitor, not as a volunteer, not as a helper for Darren, as a team. And we won the Sonora Rally that year. We didn't have a lot of competition. Like, I don't want to say I didn't have competition. What I mean is there weren't many UTVs in our class. Mm-hmm. But our main competitor was Sarah Price.
Nice.
And Sarah Price is just, she's a fabulous driver. I mean, besides being a fabulous person, she's awesome. In the car and out of the car, she's just an awesome person. And she kept having problems with her car due to fast driving, and maybe, I don't want to say lack of navigating, but I mean, her pace was way faster than what her navigator was actually reading. Mm-hmm. And I learned a lot from that, because I mean, I would, at the last day of the rally, well, actually at the fourth stage in the dunes. Mm-hmm. Are you there?
Yeah.
Sorry about that again.
No worries.
At the fourth stage of it was the dunes, and I was like 5 minutes behind her. We came into a pit for fueling, and I remember that my brother was there, and he just ran to us, and I was like, wait, hold on, you can't come close to us. I mean, it's a rule. Mm-hmm. Just you got to keep away. And he just stopped in the middle of and he's like, what's up? I know we got a refuel. And he's like, hey, Sarah just left right now. I mean, she's like, like 5 minutes, ahead of you. It was like, okay. I think that she thought that she was way, way, way in front of us. And when she saw us coming into the pit and she was leaving, she just, stepped on the pedal and she went over a dune and flipped the car over. And, I came by, I helped her out and flipping the car into its four tires. Mm-hmm. And we kept on driving, navigating. And we knew that, at that moment, we knew that we were actually going to, if we kept a safe pace, we were going to actually win the Sonora Rally.
Yeah.
And so we did. We won the 2021 Sonora Rally. No, actually 2022.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we decided to, let's go for the next rally, which was this year. Mm-hmm. And it was the Dakar Challenge back for the UTVs. Whoever won the UTV class, in our class was going to get a free ticket to the Dakar. And it was, I think it was like 4 of us that wanted to go to the Dakar. It was Sarah Price. It was Jorge Cano, Mexican also.
Yeah.
And there was other two drivers that, that were going for the Dakar Challenge. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we had a misreading in fuel consumption, but in the third stage, and we ended up running out of fuel. 10 kilometers before the fuel point. Mm-hmm. We were just 10 kilometers away from refueling, but that day it was just the car was overheating all the time. I was trying to, run as fast as I could, drive as fast as I could. Jorge was doing a really, really nice job of navigating, and we just ran out of fuel.
Yeah.
So basically, that's when we were out of the opportunity of going for the Dakar Challenge. And next day we ended up in second place on the 4th stage. And then we won the 5th stage coming into my hometown, San Luis. But we were out of the competition for the Dakar Challenge. Yeah. And Jorge kept saying, let's just go to the Dakar anyway. And he just, he said it, let's just go to the Dakar anyway. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you don't have a clue what you're saying.
We're not going to the Oxo. That's not something that
know. Exactly. Yeah. We're not going to go race the Baja 1000, Jorge. We're actually, Dakar is, 12, 15 days of racing. It's a whole, it's way across the ocean. We're not going, to Ensenada. Like we normally go like every other weekend, 3 hours away and just go race. It's Dakar. And he's like, yeah, let's still go. And I just, I remember that day I was just saying, we were in the middle of nowhere in the desert between Caborca and Puerto Peñasco. Mm-hmm. And talking about that, our opportunity to go to win the ticket to Dakar was gone. And he's like, yeah, let's just go anyway. And I was like, yeah, I know this guy. His adrenaline is way up there. He still wants to go, but and a month went by, 2 months went by, 3 months went by, and he still kept telling me, "Are you ready for Dakar? Are you ready for Dakar? And are you ready for Dakar?" I was like, "Yeah, whatever, whatever." And 2-3 weeks ago, he sends me the voucher where he actually paid the entry fee for the Dakar.
Nice. Oh man.
Yeah. I was like, dude, you actually paid the fee. And he's like, yeah. I told you that we were still going to go to Dakar. I was like, Dad, it's really expensive. It's logistics and all of this. It's just crazy, And he said, yeah, I already found out that there's a company in Spain that has a 4 Pro Rs, Polaris Pro Rs, and they rent their Pro Rs for rally racing, and they're going to take their Pro Rs for Dakar, and there's one available.
Nice.
And it involves the mechanics, spare parts, everything that you need for Dakar. And like, dude, I mean, you are serious. He's like, yeah. I mean, I already paid the rental. Oh, you just paid a rental? Yeah. We got a rental for that car.
Nice.
And he did. I mean, and you know, a day later we were talking to Susana, which she's like the administrator for that company, and we were talking about, you know, where we gotta fly, you know, the plane tickets, and you know, where we need to arrive, and she we did a video call, you know, so I could take a look at the car. You know, I haven't even seen the car, you know.
Yeah.
All I've seen is pictures and a video of it. That's it. That is it.
Yeah.
But you know, I've been following them, and they've been running a whole bunch of rallies and those prototypes and those cars, and you know, they do a whole bunch of, you know, of R&R. You know, they would, you know, run the car with a different tuning for the engine. And if it works, they would put that same tuning for all the cars. And if they did suspension work on another car, and if it worked, they would do they would put that suspension tuning on all the other cars also. So, you know, I'm pretty, you know, I don't want to say, I'm relaxed in knowing that I'm going to get into a car that has, you know, race miles and a whole bunch of, you know, tuning to it. That, like I said, Jorge, all we got to do is, you know, just go stage through stage, you know, just run one stage, a stage at a time.
Yeah.
And he's like, Daniel, do you know that we're actually going to run like almost 3 Baja 1000s? I'm like, don't tell me how many miles we're going to run. Let's just go stage through stage. And he's like, yeah, but do you know that we're actually going to go around the world? I was like, what do you mean? Yeah, I mean, the amount of miles that we're going to run for the Dakar, it's like going across the world. I was like, do you got to be that exaggerated? I mean, just tell me that we are going to go stage through stage. I mean, that's the way I drive. That's the way I focus. It's just like in Baja, it's mile through mile. Just go mile through mile, mile through mile, mile through mile. Don't think about you have 300 miles left. Don't think about you have 50 miles left. Just think about what's coming up and this next mile. Yeah. And I told him, in this case, I got to think about, you know, it's just another stage. It's just another stage. And he's like, yeah, but do you know that we're going to run like almost 3.5 Baja 1000s? Like,
yes.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I know, but I don't want to think about it that way. I want to think about going stage through stage, and that's it, you know?
Yeah.
So
it's, you know, not trying to draw the line, and, you know, I could see, you know, how he's excited and he geeks out and nerds, you know, like, oh, how much, you know, how big of an undertaking it is. But then, you know, your race car driver mentality of, you know, hey, you know what, it's 15 races, you know, each day is its own race. And a lot of the guys that I've talked to, that's been their first time at the Dakar, that's been the mentality. Hey, like, today is today's day. And, you know, they don't pay attention to the results. They don't pay, you know, they just focus on racing and just doing their thing. And then, you know, and then the results just come naturally. But, you know, it's exactly. Like, it's a very interesting, it's interesting to hear you say that, because it's two of you in the car, and there's that relationship, you know, and what one is thinking and one is the other. How does that have an effect? Like, you thinking, having the mentality of, you know, day by day, and him thinking big picture, does that play a role? I mean, does that affect you at all? Does it affect him, maybe, that you're not as excited, quote unquote, as he is? I mean, do you?
I mean, let me put it this way. I mean, it's a person that I've known for more than 20 years. And I just know the way he acts, and the way he sees things. I mean, he has a huge bucket list, and he just, you know, going check mark after check mark and going through his bucket list. I'm just really thankful that he's involving me in his way to see life, you know, and his way to see adventures, and his way to see, I want to do this, and him for considering me and his next adventure. I'm just really grateful. And but at the moment, when it comes to being in the car, and when it comes for him to do his job in the car, he's really serious.
Nice. So he switches it off.
Oh yeah, he does. I mean, besides when we're on the, when we're in between the stage and we got to go in the highway, and then he'll start singing, rock and roll. All of a sudden he'll start getting all romantic with the music, and then all of a sudden he'll start, singing corridos. I mean, that's when the fun parts comes in, and he'll start telling me his, hey, the other day I was in, Cancun or something, and I was, and I saw this, and he'll start, telling me his stories, because I mean, it's a guy that I don't see every day. I mean, I'll see him 2-3 times a year. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see him, it's for a new adventure. It's something that, that we just, talk through the phone about it. And all of a sudden he is right there next to me, and we're at a stage, or we're at the dunes, or we're like, he's thinking about coming down to the Baja 1000, which is next for us, as a Polaris Mexico team.
Mm-hmm.
And we're short of a driver, and he says, I'm not driving, I'll just navigate for you. I'm like, Jorge, it's not navigating for me, it's like just co-riding for me. And it's like, yeah, but I mean, I'll try to practice how to get you into the zone at the Baja 1000 for Dakar. I was like, it's not the same. I was like, I know, I mean, just play along. He says, just play along, just
just go with it.
it's just yeah, just go with it. I mean, it's just his way of seeing things, and like I said, I mean, but no, he gets into his zone as a navigator once we're in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And but every time he has a chance, he'll just jump in with a joke, or he'll just make fun of me for something, and it's having fun, it's being competitive, but in a manner that it's not that we don't take it serious. It's just we're not worried about what the end of the result is going to be if we're not fast enough.
Yeah.
So for us, it's just saying it's 2 Mexicans that are going to go to Dakar, which is actually the first time that 2 Mexicans are in the same car.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And it's just, let's just say that we actually finished every stage of the Dakar.
Mm-hmm.
And what position? Like you said, it's going to come naturally.
Yeah.
If we start out in 30th position, and after 5 days we're up to the top 20, and then after another 2 days we're top 15 or top 10, it's going to come naturally. We just want to finish every stage and say we did every kilometer of the Dakar Rally.
Yeah. And
that's the main goal.
And and I think that's definitely a good place, because I think I remember back in the day racing the Class 10 cars, it was all you had to do was be consistent, because the race had a way of, the cars were fast enough to get into trouble, which is still the case with the UTVs. I think is that they're fast enough to get into trouble. So the attrition rate, how many people end up dropping out of the race because of mechanical, or if not dropping out of the race, losing a ton of time over basic things, things that, could have been driving a little bit slower, paying more attention, being more precise in your driving, and instead of taking so many risks, all of a sudden you could move 2-3 positions in one single day and not even, and you didn't even do anything. I mean, you even stopped, for something. Yeah. So it's always been interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I told him, I mean, just navigate, make sure we get all the waypoints. I mean, that's what we talked to for the Sonora Rally. I mean, it's just like, hey, let's just not miss any waypoints. I mean, we just gotta focus on not missing waypoints and doing it as fast as we can without hurting the car.
Mm-hmm.
And but in this case, it's not just 5 days. I mean, we're talking about 12 days, and it's talking about from one stage to another, it's going to be 900 kilometers, and it's just something that you got to start focusing on, and you got to start realizing, what the hell are we getting ourselves into? And, and just get ready as fast as we can. And he already knows how to navigate, which is not going to be something different that we already did. But being able to do it for all, for that amount of days,
mm-hmm.
that's where your condition comes in, and you gotta be really, really focused. Your mentality has to be, let's finish this day. Let's finish this day. Let's finish this day. It's, I don't know if it's the same as when people that go through, ANA, it's one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
We're addicted to racing. We're addicted to racing, so it's like saying one day at a time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and like you're saying, is the the big picture of it is, if you just focus on the day at a time, there's a difference at the end of day 6 when you're like, I still got to do this for another 9 days, and 7 to 9 days versus I just got to go do this tomorrow again. And you're not really thinking about it, because I can see that, like what you're saying is, I'm on the adventure bike rides, right? You ride a 400-mile day, and the next day it's a little harder to get on the bike. You don't, it's the same. So I think, same with the racing, you go and you do the Baja 1000, and maybe the next day you're like, damn, that was, a week later, you're like, damn, I wish I was back there racing, but it's always that, that next day, the next time that you got to go do it, that sometimes gets a little bit tough. So yeah. And the Dakar, obviously you're going to have to do it several days.
Yeah.
So
go
ahead.
Yeah. No, it's just something that, for example, this past race, last week, I got in the car at the middle of the, it was 380 something miles, and I got in the car at 190. And I was like, I've done more miles before. We got the notes. It was the first time my son actually got in the car with me, and he was navigating for me. I haven't had another different navigator in desert racing, because Jorge is my navigator for rally,
mm-hmm.
and then Martin, he's my navigator for desert racing. And he's been my navigator for desert racing for the past 5 years. No one else has actually gotten the passenger seat with me, besides Martin. And all of a sudden doing, a big, change, and not only having another guy in the seat next to me, it is actually my son next to me, which makes it a bit more, it was a bit of nervous in me saying I can run faster, but imagine if I get into an accident and my son's with me. That really changes your way of focusing, and a difference from when Martin's, driving. He's code riding with me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I don't want to get into an accident and him being harmed, but having your son next to you now, you got to get more. I was more focused. I was trying to run faster, but at the same time being 3 times more careful.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I was like, I was just like, okay, it's, one more mile. I'm getting close. I'm getting closer to the end. He was like in a surprise. He was really surprised on how the course was at race day from a week before.
Yeah. How much it had changed.
How much it had changed in certain sections. When you're running Baja and you go pre-run, you'll mark down, the dangerous spots, if there's a whoops, if there's a jump, if there's, what do you call las zancas, where,
washouts
washouts and all that. You'll mark all that down. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to race day, there's going to be spots where you have marked down as a dangerous point that it's not dangerous anymore. Right. So, and all those whoops where you would point down as a yellow spot, slow down and just go through it. All of a sudden, I mean, it wasn't yellow. I mean, it was green all the way.
Mm-hmm.
But then there comes, parts where if it was yellow, now it's red or triple red. The trophy trucks went through it and they just messed it up, 10 times more than what it was, a week before.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So when you get the experience after a lot of races, after a few years racing, you got to mark that down as, hey, mark this down that it's going to be worse than it was in 5 days. In 5-6 days, it's going to be worse. So mark it down.
Yeah. And
he would be like, okay. So he would just mark it down. And when we got to this section between Santo Tomas and Nojoneros, which is Uruapan,
mm-hmm.
Everyone knows that Uruapan is just,
silt and just...
it's 30 miles of just being really, really careful.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept telling them, don't look at the track. Look at the iPad. Just don't look at the track. Look at the iPad and just keep telling me what's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, damn. He would say like, whoa, or a la madres, o sea,
yeah.
Because he was so surprised on how it would change on from just being yellow to being like, a full triple red if it was like that, 6 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he would just be so surprised and he would be like, how are we going to get through this? How are we going to go up this hill? How are we going to go? And I was like, hey, let's just focus on what's coming up. Let's just focus on what's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, it's focusing on what's coming up every 100 feet,
Yeah.
It's just focusing on what your navigator is telling you. I mean, I can't imagine your intercom going bad and not being able to communicate with your navigator in route.
Oh,
not being able to listen at him on what he's telling you. I mean, I just can't imagine something like that coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're running in Baja and desert racing, you already pre-ran. So you sort of know, I mean, while you're driving, you sort of know what's coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, there's basic hand signals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if your communication with your co-rider, I mean, goes bad, I mean, like you said, you got hand signals or you can just, take a look at the screen and see what's coming up, because you already wrote it down a week before. But in rally, I mean, you can't do that. Just can't. I mean, I just can't imagine. I mean, what you're going to do if your communication system, goes bad and you can't communicate with your navigator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. What are you going to, and it's not in Baja, what is, you got your basic slowdowns, you've got there's not a lot of complicated hand signals, things that you got to do. Right. But in rally, mm-hmm. It's like, well, okay, this is a speed zone. Okay. This is, you know what, you're going to come up and it's not the middle road. It's the second road. There's so many details that have to be relayed back and forth that you could get away from most of it, but it's so easy to just go off and make a mistake, or it slows your pace way, way down.
And if you got a navigator like Jorge, he'll start making jokes about all the symbols in the road book. so imagine you're going, I don't know, 70 miles per hour, and all of a sudden he says there's going to be an elephant in 200 meters. Mm-hmm. I was like, what do you mean? What? And he's like, yeah, there's going to be an elephant. And then he'll put the rule book in front of you, in front of your face. And doesn't that look like an elephant? I'm like, dude, get the heck, get that rule book. And he'll be like, oh, there's a jelly jar at your right side.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go. So once you pass that jelly jar, then you're going to do a 30-degree turn to, and for 2 kilometers on a jelly jar. Like, yeah. And then you'll see like a jelly jar in the middle of nowhere. It's just a trash can, but he'll call it jelly jar instead of just telling me there's going to be a trash can right there.
Yeah.
And he'll start making up all these nicknames for the symbols. And if there's like a triple exclamation mark, he says like, "Okay, Daniel, ahí viene un putazo."
Stay sharp.
Yeah, stay sharp. Ahí viene un putazo. Yeah. I mean, so it's really cool, having someone like him navigating for you, because I mean, if you're like being really, really focused, and then all of a sudden he'll crack a joke or something, it won't throw you off focus. It'll actually just relax you and just saying, okay, just keep on listening, keep on driving, keep on, just keep on going and listen to whatever he says. I mean, if it's a joke, or if it's something serious, if it's something, just keep on listening, and it'll relax you instead of just being all nerve wracking, the whole stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It keeps you, it makes it seem like less work than what you're doing.
And instead of just being competitive, mm-hmm. it becomes a fun competition. It becomes an adventure. It becomes, just living it, live it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
which his I remember when what was it, in Baja 1000, 2017, I think. And we bought helmets, new helmets, because it was, we had to buy new certified helmets. Mm-hmm. And he put on all the helmets, he put the YOLO, YOLO. Yeah. I didn't know what YOLO meant. I never heard of it before. Yeah. And I was like, what does YOLO mean? Jorge? You only live once. And that really stuck to me.
Yeah.
It really, really, really stuck to me. And then I remember him telling me, if it was in Spanish, but it meant either you win either you lose or you win, but you're always learning, or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, what he was trying to say is, don't worry about winning or losing. Just worry about learning every time, learning and learning, which just, it just happened to us in this past weekend. Mm-hmm.
The 400,
the issues at the Baja 400, the issues that we had with our car, it was something that we didn't even think about that could happen. Mm-hmm. The coolant reservoir, the coolant reservoir breaking. Who would think that we were going to need a spare coolant reservoir? And it happened. It broke.
Yeah, that's not a very common thing at all. It literally just sits in the race car. It's not even a working part.
Exactly. It is not a tire. It is not an axle. It is not a tie rod. It is not. It's just something that's, like you said, it sits there, and all it has to do is hold the water. That's it, the coolant, and that's it. Well, it actually broke on us. Fortunately, we had our chaser there, and it uses the same one, so we had to take it off and put it into the race car. It is such, really, really complicated in doing that swap, because, there's no room to take the hoses off. And it's just not, it isn't just one hose and that's it. It is actually 4 hoses that you got to take off, and you got to make sure you don't wiggle it around, that you don't turn the hoses, left or right, because if you do that, you might break the edge of the coolant reservoir. You got to, try to see the way you're going to take the hose off straight down and not towards the side. And being a hose that's been there for 4,000 miles already, it's really, it was just a hassle. It took us almost from when the coolant reservoir broke and the car went into limp mode, and it got to us, and we had to change, swap the coolant reservoir out. We lost 2 hours.
Yeah. It's crazy. And again, it's something that doesn't even, what does that thing do? It's not something, it's got the easiest job in the car.
Yeah. Yeah. But, it's just an experience, and what are we doing right now? We already took the car apart, and we're fabricating, an aluminum, reservoir, because we don't want that happening.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah, you'll learn. So what is, I mean, we got a few months before the Dakar. Are there things that you guys are looking at practicing? How are you guys preparing?
Well, Jorge's been to the gym in the past week, so he says he's ready.
Okay.
Because he already went to the gym for a full week. And he'll message me like every morning and then send me a picture that he's at the gym, and I'm like, oh yeah, now you think that you're gonna run a triathlon or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah. And we are working on the schedule. Scheduling up a practice. I want to go as soon as the heat comes down a bit here in San Luis. I want to go and drive the dunes. It's everything I see on the videos when you're watching Dakar every year. Mm-hmm. The way you see these guys go through the dunes, it's different than the way we're used to going through the dunes, mm-hmm. right? These guys will just go, straight up and down, most of them.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to UTV drivers. Mm-hmm. And these guys will just go up and down, where I'm used to, stopping, taking a look around left or right and see if there's a way that I could get a little bit of a, jump start, coming down this dune and then just trying to go across the dune, in an easier way. Mm-hmm. Right. But I do this here because I know the dunes, I know where to go. I know I'm not going to get lost. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go to another country where I need to follow either tracks, follow his navigation, Jorge's navigation. And I don't really know what I'm coming against, even though they're dunes. But how big are the dunes? How far can you go towards the left or the right? This time I'm not going to know if I go towards the left. I know that there's a trail, a kilometer away. Mm-hmm. Or if I go right, I know that I'm going to hit the bushes, what we call el valle. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to get lost. But in this case, I really don't know how far away we can go towards the sides. So we got to go through whatever he's reading and do it at a way that I'm not used to, just going and jumping through the dune.
Yeah.
So I want to practice that. I want to practice, driving across the dunes instead of looking a way to go around the dunes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. The technique changes and then, yeah, like you said, I've seen it with the bike guys, right? Some of the bikes, a lot of them may not make it all the way up the dune. So they're, they'll go around the dune to the left and then they go around to the dune to the right. And they just to keep the same direction, it becomes very challenging. So it's, I think that's a good plan, and obviously the physical and then the, the nutrition side of it. And there's a lot of little moving pieces.
Yeah, you know how we are down here. Yesterday it was my youngest niece quinceañera. Mm-hmm. And you know how quinceañera is. It's like having a wedding, a baptized party, and a
all in one.
Yeah, like anniversary for someone, and all in one. So, I was like, I can't just drink like I was doing, 6 months ago. I got to take care of myself. I got to, make sure that we were at the shop on Thursday, and the car was all apart already, to do an inspection. Mm-hmm. And something natural for shops down here in Mexico is that either on Thursday or Fridays, everyone's going to get there and have some beers and have a carne asada. Open up the grill. It's just something that it comes natural. Mm-hmm. So I stop by, I get off the car with a bottle of water in my hand, and my friends are just looking at me like, really? I was like, dude, I got to start. I told you guys that after the Baja 400, I had to stop, just drinking because it was just any other day. no, I mean, I gotta choose when I'm gonna have a few beers, or if I'm gonna have, a whiskey or something. I gotta choose the days now.
Yeah.
And like, really? And like, yeah. You never do that for the Baja one, or for the Baja race. I'm like, yeah, that's different. I mean, I'm not gonna race just 200 miles or just one day. I mean, it's gonna be 15 days.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. So
yeah.
One of them, he hands me over those zero alcohol Tecate beers. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen them.
No, not yet, but I thought all Tecate was out.
It's a Tecate with zero alcohol.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
I tasted it and I was like, nah, this isn't for me. I mean, either I'm going to have a beer or I'm not going to have a beer. So I just, and then I got a routine from a friend of mine that he owns a gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to raise this. I mean, I got to be, start doing exercise for my shoulders, my neck, my back. And, he gave me this routines that I started out, a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And believe me, I mean, I felt the difference just this past weekend, before I would end up all sore, next day, I mean, I could barely move. And this past weekend, I mean, it was Sunday and I was like, I'm ready to go another 300 miles, 400 miles or something.
Good.
And so yeah, it does work. I mean, even if it's going to be just an adventure for us, another check on the bucket list for Jorge or whatever, and it's just something that we want to do and say, hey, we finished the Dakar Rally, the Dakar, and we represented our country, and listen, even though you're going with that mentality, your body's going to say another thing once you're there.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be, thinking about it that way, but your body's going to say another thing after 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. Well, no, of course.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I think. I've never been there. So yeah. I'm thinking that's what I think.
Yeah. No, I mean, that definitely, I mean, it's like you've been there, but then I guess the connecting of the dots is like, okay, well, when I finished the 400, this is how I felt. When I finished the 250, this is how I felt. When I finished 1,000, this is how I felt. So now how would I feel if I had to do all of those one after the other? Because I mean, looking at the Dakar and looking at, some of the more recent years with how long the stages are, if you're lucky, it was a San Felipe 250 between the liaisons mm-hmm. and the course. And if it was a long day, it was a Baja 1000. But the thing is you could have a couple Baja 1000s across those 15 days. Obviously all of it is not racing, but just like the Baja 1000, some of it is smooth and some of it, well, it makes you question what you're doing there. Yeah.
No, and I think that in my case, and also in Jorge's case, the worst part for us is when they put us on a highway and we got to drive for 150, 200 kilometers just on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, because your adrenaline goes down. Your communication goes, it starts just shutting down because, you just got to go through the highway. That's it. For the next 100 kilometers
mm-hmm. or
more. And that's when you start getting, like sleepy, you start getting tired. Well, not tired, but you just,
yeah.
your battery goes down because you're not really racing in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So in our experience at the Sonora Rally, fortunately our car had the ride command where we could put music on.
Nice.
I don't think we're going to be able to put music on at the Dakar.
Yeah.
So Jorge, I told him you got to learn some music and start singing or something because
we're going to need you to learn the top 10.
Yeah, top 10. Yeah.
And in key. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's I think in my experience for rally, I think that's just like the worst part of a stage. Going in the highway and driving for 100 kilometers, 150 or 200 kilometers. That's just like the worst part.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can imagine. I mean, it's the boring part of it because they're not necessarily geared, going 80. You can't, you got to obey local speed limits, all of that stuff. And
exactly.
it's a very, I could see it very different. Part of me thinks that would be something that, maybe, okay, you said it was 100 kilometers. All right, turn off the intercom. This is our alone time. You can talk to yourself. I won't hear you. I'm going to talk to myself over here. You won't hear me. I'll see you, in so many kilometers. And I don't know. I feel like that's a different, it's a different beast. I mean, in talking to Skylar House, several shows ago, about, this, you're putting the music on and you're having these conversations with yourself. And I mean, it's just like this very different, mindset, it's just so long on the highway. So these big, long liaisons, you got to keep yourself.
Yeah. That's when you tell yourself, que chingados hago aquí?
Yeah. That's exactly
what the heck am I doing here? I mean,
yeah.
Who told me that I got to do this? It's just those moments where you're like, oh, I mean, what am I doing here? Well, I mean, who told me that I have to do this?
Yeah.
Who put a gun to my head and said, hey, you got to go do this. I mean, no, it's just, but I mean, at the end, it's something that you got to enjoy. It's something that you say, I can tell, my family, my friends, this was my adventure, during these days, tell them the stories, and not to make people, in any way envy or jealous or anything like that. It's just, stories that you're going to tell your closest people,
Yeah.
I lived this, I how many people that have run, at Baja for years and years and years, I mean, way more years than I have,
mm-hmm.
have maybe only, dreamed about going to a rally, driving rally.
Yeah.
And me able to say, okay, I ran rally, but I've never ran Dakar Rally.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're getting ready to do that. It's something that I think that when that first green light or flag drops, that first one at the first stage,
mm-hmm.
I think that's when it's going to hit.
Yeah.
And you're going to say, holy shit, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I'm actually running Dakar.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's something, I mean, it's just something that I might say right now, I think this is how I'm going to feel.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm sure that it's nothing close to what I'm going to feel at that moment.
Once you're actually there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, besides telling my wife that I'm not going to be here in New Year's, that was like the first step, the most risking, I think, besides being in the car racing, I think that the riskiest was telling my wife I'm not going to be here in New Year's. And I go, oh, really? Doesn't it start like until like the 4th or 5th? Yeah, but I got to leave before, and I'm going to be here for New Year's. And she, okay, I mean, okay, go live it, go,
Yeah.
I mean, fortunately, my family has always been into some sort of racing.
Mm-hmm.
When my dad used to race in the sand drags, it was 300 foot of sand drags, and that's how I started, getting into the cars. And they've all, I mean, they're a huge important part of of me being able to live all this and what I'm going to live in a few months.
Mm-hmm.
Their support, and they're sacrificing other things, for me able to go and do what I'm going to do, and I mean, it's just something that that I'm really thankful for, having the support from them, besides, my kids and my wife here at my home, my parents, uncles, aunts, cousins, friends, having all their support. I mean, it's just, you see it a whole different way than from friends that I know that race and they got to do a whole bunch of stuff, they got to earn points at their home to go to race, even if they're not racing, even if they're just going to go see the race,
yeah,
they got to earn points. You know, hacer puntos, como decimos, ¿no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got to get all of the projects out of the way. You know, it's this for that. You know, yeah, it's a negotiation rather than let's go.
It's a negotiation, exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
And I mean, and the good thing about this is that, I mean, my family they understand that I'm also looking at this as a business point of view also. You know, my business has all the customers that it has because they're not just taking it to a guy that decided to open up a UTV shop. They're taking it to a guy, they're taking the UTV to a guy that runs, that participates, that lives, and that knows what it takes for a UTV to go through the courses when they're, even if it's just a trail ride. Mm-hmm. You know, they're taking it to a guy that has the experience, and that's what we share with our customers. You know, yeah. we share our experience, you know, in different kind of terrains. If it's dunes, if it's trails, if it's, you know, we share all that with our customers, and at the end, you know, it shows in the business the way it's growing, the way I've been able to grow the business more every year. You know, it has to do a lot with me being able to participate and having my family's support, you know, and me being out on a weekend or 2 weekends out, you know, out of the house. And then in the week, I mean, I'm out of the house because I'm working, you know.
Yeah.
And then it comes the weekend and I'm not here because, you know, I'm pre-running or I'm at a trail because they invited me but I mean, I get 2-3 customers more, you know, into the shop because I went to a trail ride, and they all they understand that. Mm-hmm. Right. And they never tell me, okay, hey, you know what? I mean, that's enough.
Yeah.
They never tell me that. Who puts the mark on when it's enough? I mean, it's me.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's me saying, you know what? No, I'm going to miss this trail. You know, I'm just going to, you know, skip it. You know, I want to be at home. You know, I want to do a carne asada here on a Sunday morning, you know, a Sunday afternoon and have friends over. Mm-hmm. You know, I miss my family. I miss my friends, you know, and let's do a gathering. Let's go to, you know, now that I got my 2 youngest at college, and my oldest son works with me, and then, which is Danny, and he does most of the prepping on the car too. I mean, he's been learning a lot. I mean, I'm really thankful for that. I mean, he's been learning. He likes it. He loves it. You know, he gets that adrenaline like I do, you know, when it's race day, you know, and now that he's, you know, getting in the car after I saw that he had the potential to do any kind of fixture that came up to that we could come up to. I mean, he knows how to do any kind of fixture. He knows how to take an axle off the car and put another one in and you know, in 5 minutes, you know, or less. Nice. You know, after I saw it, I was like, you know what, you know, I think it's going to be a good decision to have Danny in the car also. Maybe not always co-driving for me, mm-hmm. maybe for someone else in the team, you know, but I mean, having him in the car, I mean, it's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
And then Alexis, he's in studying for engineering in Mexicali, mm-hmm. and then we got our daughter Valeria. She's studying to be a dentist down there in Monterrey. So, I mean, I try to, you know, if we got a chance to all of us, you know, be together, you know, I try to take advantage of that. And if she's gonna come down here for a weekend and it's race weekend, you know, I try to convince her not to come to San Luis and visit her friends. You know, hey, why don't you fly to Tijuana so you can go to Ensenada? You know, so I could see you for a while. You know, at least. Yeah. You know, but they're really understanding, and that's a huge part of me being able to, you know, to go into the adventures that crazy Jorge comes up with. You know, and yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, nice. my family is just a huge part of this. I mean, having their, like I said, you know, many times, their support, their understanding. I mean, You can have the support, but if they don't understand, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's different. I mean, you'll go to race day, you know, knowing that you're going to come back home and, you know, into long faces, you know, looking at you instead of, and, you know, in my case, I mean, they'll support me, they'll go with me, they'll, you know, they'll follow me. They're, you know, and if for some reason they don't go to the race, you know, when I come back, you know, they're receiving me with, you know, with arms open and with a, you know, my wife will do this huge buffet of food, you know, because she knows that I've been eating just tacos and tortas, you know, all week.
Yeah.
You know, and she'll have this huge buffet, you know, of everything I like.
Nice.
Home cooking.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, and like you said, I mean, that's a very good point that you bring up. There's a difference between understanding and supporting. And you want somebody, obviously you want both. I don't think you can have support without understanding to a certain extent. So that's a very big, you know, that's a very, very true statement. And for a lot of people, I mean, you're like you mentioned earlier, you know, you are sacrificing, you know, the New Year's, which, you know, is in I don't know of a single culture where New Year's isn't a big, you know, necessarily a big deal. So it definitely, you know, it's an important holiday, but that they understand and that they support, you know, your decision. Like, yeah, go do it, go race it, you know, you know, which is nice. I mean, I think before it was on New Year's Day. So now you were talking about even sometimes missing Christmas, depending on how the weekend aligned or how those days aligned. So this is, you know, this year I think they're making it a little bit easier. So nice. Yeah. Very nice. And so with all this, obviously the family is a big part of this, but, you know, just kind of wrapping it up, who are the sponsors? Who are the guys that are backing you up, you know, that are helping with this?
Well, honestly, I mean, like my brother once said, work hard, play hard, you know? So a huge part of this, being able to go to Dakar is part of our work. You know, it's part of us, you know, working hard to be able to play hard, to be able to go to these new adventures, to these new, you know, part of living a life a different way. You know, so we work for it. And I'm not saying we don't have any sponsorships. We do. But the most part is just us working, you know, and being able to do it. As sponsors, we just started looking into that. I mean, a few friends of ours, locals here, that have their businesses that are huge Baja fanatics, and they follow rallies, and they know that I'm 100% into it. You know, they are going to support us, and you know, and in a way that it does make a difference. You know, and we're really thankful for their support, you know, economically, and of course, you know, their support and being happy for us that we're going to be able to do this and representing the, you know, the town, the state, the country.
Yeah.
Like we did in 2 years ago in the Sonora Rally when actually last year when we won it, you know, and a lot of some brands that I work with for my business, like Evolution Power Sports, Shock Therapy, you know, Gage G-Force, you know, all these companies that I'm going to go visit them and tell them, hey, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they're going to support in one way or another, you know, because, you know, it's not just a guy that decided to go run. I mean, it's me that I've been doing business with them for the past years.
Yeah.
You know, that I'm not just asking, you know, for something out of the air. I mean,
yeah, there's
a
relationship.
I mean, there's a relationship. There's a business relationship, and I'm sure that they're gonna be really supportive in one way or another. And I'm talking to the Poleres Mexico because Dakar isn't really part of their budget, you know, for the Poleres Mexico team. You know, it's Score International, and that's it. You know, yeah. So, you know, we're talking, you know, see if there's going to be any kind of support because, you know, from their behalf, and you know, and we got to understand. I mean, if you're going to go into a race like this, into a competition like that, like Dakar is, you can't really go in it expecting, from others.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that you're going to be able to do it on your own. And if you get support, I mean, that is fantastic, but you got to go into it not expecting,
Yeah.
That's just the way I see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's such a big undertaking and it's, and it obviously it makes it difficult to say like, okay, well, if I don't get this, then it's a no-go, so if you've already got everything set up and you're ready to go, then everything else is just kind of helping alleviate, some of the other expenditures and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's not just paying the entry fee. I mean, for the race. I mean, it's a whole lot of new race suits, new helmets, practicing. I mean, all that takes it takes expenses. And if support comes in from other companies, from locals, from friends, it's a huge help. I mean, it is. But like I said, I mean, don't go into it expecting it. Go into it because you can do it, because we've been working hard at it, and we work our butts off, every day to be able to do something like this.
Yeah, that's. I'm just thinking about it, like all of these, all the guests and all the people that we talk to, and like you're saying, I mean, it's just the mentality that it's taking for you to get there, and just being prepared. It's just I'm trying to think, what every time it's like a new experience for everybody, and what you're bringing and how you're saying it is like, I've got it figured out. We've got it figured out. You've got your team, you've got all of this stuff. And now you're, it's like the icing on the cake. To me, honestly, of everything that you said right now, I think that to me, the biggest part was the family side of it. How awesome is that your family is just so much behind you, you guys.
Yeah. I mean, I started out with, with my brother, as well, actually me following my brother and Jorge under crazy, adventures and hey, we want to do this. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Because I was like they'll think of it, they'll pay for it, but I got to do the work. So that's how it started.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, like I said at the beginning, then I thought of it as a business side of it. And that's when, I started doing my own things, of course. I mean, I've always had their support too, even if they're not racing with me. Every race that I've been through, I always have their support in one way or another. And it's just a connection between me and my brother that we have, really special. And that our parents, look at that and how are they not going to support their two sons, if they're connected into something that they both like, I mean, it just comes, naturally. Right. And my sister-in-law, I mean, she's really into the races, and my wife is also, until she met me, she had never been to a race until she met me, and then she started going to the race, and and she gets that adrenaline rush too. My sister-in-law gets the adrenaline rush too. I mean, Jorge's wife also, I mean, she loves coming down here to San Luis and going to the dunes, going to the desert. And I mean, if we didn't have that, I think it would be a whole different story,
Yeah. Yep. No, 100%. Now you're, it's not just the challenge in the desert, it's the challenge at home.
Exactly. I mean, and I mean, I got friends that race or have their cars, and, I listen to them, or they will actually see the support that I have. And they would say like, bro, that is so cool. I mean, having your wife cook for the whole team, if we're going to go to Ensenada for a race, I mean, she'll cook for the whole, for 20, 30 people.
Yeah.
the wives were, I mean, my friends' wives, my comadres, they're always, I mean, I got friends that have been with me since we started, 8 years ago. It's almost 9 years ago, and they've been with me, following me through every race. Their wives also, their kids have grown into it too, and all the ladies will get together and cook for us, so we could wake up at 6 a.m. before we leave to the race, and we'll have a birria, we'll have omelets, scrambled eggs with this, and the other two comadres are doing the burrito, so we can take to the chase, while the guys are chasing around our car and chasing me. I mean, they'll have burritos, they'll have, it's like a whole big family thing. You don't have to be blood. You know that, Victor.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to be blood in order to say, it's a huge family.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, everybody, on the off-road racing side of it and in the rally, there's rally family and then there's the Baja family, and that's, and everybody joins in, even if they don't know it, like you said, even if they don't know anything about the racing. It's just the fact that, you're there, you're hanging out and everybody's there, whatever it is, talking crap or giving each other a hard time or laughing at things or, talking about things. And it's, I don't know. You gotta, I feel bad for the people that haven't experienced that and enjoyed it. I hope that doesn't sound bad to the listeners, but it's one of those things that it's the camaraderie and I guess we each have our own version of that. For some it's maybe it's the soccer game. Some people don't like soccer, others do, but you all get to hang out and the food or the whatever it is, or it's football or baseball or it's just that our choice involves cars, motos, some race gas, some very expensive car parts.
And a lot of dirt.
And a lot of dirt. Yep.
And a lot of dirt. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I was invited to this trail down in Sinaloa this weekend, called El Cosalazo. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I could literally say 4,000 or 5,000 UTVs gather up and they just go trail riding in the water, and the washes, and but washes aren't dry like the ones we go through down here in Baja. Yeah, they're wet. They're filled with water. Yeah. and I'm like, nah, I'm not into water. I mean, if I'm gonna go riding in water, it's gonna be in a jet ski or something. I mean, I'm not gonna go in my UTV in the water and then keep on driving all wet. I mean, not having to. I mean, I'll just stay to the dirt. I'll stick to the dirt. That's it. I mean, dirt is my thing now, not water. So
we're good with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Excellent. Well, good. Well, I mean, I didn't say it, but to you and the team and the family, congratulations. That's, it's awesome that you guys are going to go to the Dakar. Obviously we all know that not everybody gets accepted to go, not everybody gets a spot because they're limited in the room. So, I mean, congratulations on that. And I'm looking forward to hearing you guys' experience. I really want to know, how it goes for you guys, and we'll be keeping track.
I mean, yeah, we'll be in contact, and I'm sure that when the day comes, like I said, I mean, I could think of a whole bunch of ways that I think I'm going to feel when I start that stage, but it's not going to be the same as when I'm actually at that spot, right there when that flag is going to drop for the first time at the first stage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I mean, I can only imagine just getting, there's going to be so many of those moments, getting out of the airport, getting to the hotel, registration, the book, having all of the stuff filled out in the book, all of these little things that I think that it's almost like the green flag may just be like the last of those, obviously then the finish line, but it's so no, I mean, I'm looking forward to keeping up with your adventures. Are we gonna see you at the Sonora Rally School? I think it's going to end up being a few weeks before the end of the year.
I think that same weekend I have a race.
Oh, okay.
The final race of the Code series. So I'm not sure I'm going to be like at the rally school.
Oh, okay.
Fortunately, we we have someone in our team that does all the logistics and knows all the, how to do the road books and all that stuff, that he's going to be, training us in a certain way that he's been to Dakar. He was at the Dakar when the Matlocks went over there. And so he has all that experience. He worked with Darren for several years also. And we became really close friends. And he's actually the co-race director at Score. So he does a lot of logistics for Score, Rodolfo. And that's my buddy's name, Rodolfo. And so he's going to be helping us train, making sure he puts a lot of whole difficult waypoints and stuff like that during our training, so we could get that practice, all that, because I mean, you've seen at Dakar, I mean, even the most experienced drivers, they get lost sometimes. They just won't find a waypoint, So we want to practice all that, make sure we don't get lost at a point where we won't be able to finish a stage. That's our biggest goal: finish every stage. What position, whatever comes up.
Yeah.
But let's finish every stage.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
That's you can't get to the end without finishing the stages. So
exactly.
Gotta make it
you can, if you don't finish a stage, I mean, we know that we can keep on running, and participate in the next stages. But I mean, saying that we were only able to finish, let's just say a number, I mean, 9 out of the 10. Nah, I mean, that's not on our minds. I mean, our mind is, finish 10 out of 10.
I feel like that's the equivalent to them handing you a Tecate without alcohol in it. It's just not. Yeah. It's just not the same thing.
It's not this. Yeah, exactly. It's not the same.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you put it in a really good perspective way of seeing things. If someone gives that Tecate with alcohol, they're like, yeah, no, man. I mean, it's not just the same.
Yeah, I mean, it may look kind of the same. The label's kind of the same, but it's just not the same.
Or it's like right now that my wife, instead of bringing home tortillas, made out of flour, and the original tortillas. I mean, she'll come in with tortillas from made of I don't know, nopal or something,
nopal,
yeah, all those kind of weird things that are from that all the nutritionists are saying that you could. Instead of eating 2 tortillas out of flour, you could eat 2 made out of this. It's just not the same,
They're not. I can tell you they are not. But
yeah,
awesome, sir. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time and chatting with us about about what's coming up and how you guys started. I mean, that was awesome. I mean, it's really cool to see the progression of just a couple of crazy ideas, and here we are now, going to the Dakar.
I know. Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Like I said, I mean I've got really close friends that have been with us, since the beginning. One of them, Poncho, which he owns his own fab shop, and he's been with us since the beginning. And then right now he's like, I mean, he's not going to Dakar with us. But he's like, I think he's one of the most excited persons, out of the bunch that he feels like, he's going because he's been a part of it, since the beginning.
Nice.
And a lot of friends, feel that way. I mean, they're like, dude, I mean, remember when, we didn't even know how to change a belt. I mean, remember when we didn't even have the tools to take the clutch off the UTV. We wanted to, hammer it off the car, without knowing that we actually needed a pulley to take it off, stuff like that. I mean, we talk about it right now, and like you said, the progression we've been through, and as friends, as family, as the racing life part of it, and also as a business, also as a business. I mean, how much this has grown. And working and living through something you just love,
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't really ask.
Everyone says, I want to work in something that I love. Well, I mean, I've been doing it for the past almost 10 years,
Yeah.
I've been working and what I love. I get a lot of adventures out of it, a lot of, relations, with a whole bunch of people that I've met, that are really big in the industry for the off-roading industry. That we become friends, that they have helped me out in my business, with their experience, through their racing and their off-roading business. They have helped me a whole bunch. Let me name a few. Greg Geyser from Geyser Performance UTV.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Geyser Performance, they do trophy trucks, they do UTVs, and, they've been a huge help for me, and, and showing me around, everything that can be done in this business and enjoying it at the same time.
Yeah.
So huge shout out to my Tío Greg. That's how I call him, Tío Greg, Uncle Greg. Nice. Yeah, I mean, he's been really, really, helpful and a really good friend. Him and his family, his business. Steve from SD Lines. I mean, we really connected because this guy he decided to open up a business for lighting, for off-road lighting, especially for UTVs. And I already had my business. I mean, it was I already had it, and then seeing him, open up his business and growing, and helping him in growing the business down here in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
It really opened up a really close relation between me and him, and his wife, Columba. She's been really helpful to me too. And talking about how to grow a business, how to grow a business and having fun out of it too. Enjoying it, not just doing a business so we can have an income. No, I mean, let's do a business where we can have an income, but especially enjoy it. Enjoy it and have fun out of it. Make adventures out of it.
Yeah.
And have something in common.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what like we said, what more could you ask for?
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Well, excellent, sir. Well, I'll get you. I appreciate it again, taking the time, and we'll get you some update. I mean, send us updates. I want to know how you guys are doing when you guys are ready and heading out. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, I got to go to Mexico City and in the next few days to get my you got to do what do you call it, like lab test, and you got to do a physical test. You got to do you got to get a special license, the FIA license, mm-hmm. all that stuff. That now that we're registered into Dakar, now we got to do all that stuff too. So yeah. I'll let you know if I get my license. I mean,
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm going to celebrate like if I was a 16-year-old kid, getting there.
Nice. Excellent. All right. Anyway, again, I appreciate it. And I hope you guys have enjoy the rest of the weekend and good luck down in Mexico. And we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Victor. Thank you. Awesome. No, I really appreciate you also taking your time, man. And talking to me and letting me, tell you what's been going on in my life for the past 10 years and my racing life.
And the racing.
I really appreciate him.
Yeah, coming out of San Luis too. First guest out of San Luis. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Setting records. Awesome, sir. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you.
You too.
All righty.
Take care.
See you. Bye. All right. So there you have it. Danny Gutierrez. Or is it Gutierrez? Why do I keep saying Gutierrez? It's not. GRUTV, Geek Racing. That is awesome. And I mentioned it earlier, and that's really the big thing that stuck out in my head is that you draw the line and you start connecting the dots into what is the racing community and how big of a family event this can be. And in racing for years and doing this stuff, it's always been a family event. My dad got us into it. The brothers continue to race. We're involved in some kind of form of motorsport. But, to hear from him on his side and how that goes and how all of the family and everybody, supports the adventure, supports what they're doing. And then not only that, but like you said, you know, it came up is like, there's a difference between support and understanding. You know, understanding is like, okay, yeah, I know you're going to go, so I understand you're going. But when you get back, we need to do this, and this, versus supporting it and saying, okay, hey, you know what? I want to go too. Or, you know, go out there, let me know, send me the updates, keep me up to date. When you come back, you know, we'll take it easy. We'll chill. You know, there's a lot of variation there. There could be a bit of a line there. So it's really, really awesome to see. So I'm excited. It's our first UTV guest that we've had on the show. So I'm excited to keep up with him and find out a little bit more about how the team does and what they do. It's countdown to Dakar. We are running out of time before that the teams and everybody starts departing the use and starts heading out there. So anyway, with that being said, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Remember, it'll make sense when you get there. Enjoy the ride. All right, that is a wrap for the Chasing Waypoints podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Looking forward to our next one coming up. Remember, if you are out riding, do not forget to tag us at Chasing Waypoints. Hashtag Chasing Waypoints. And if you haven't already, get on over to the website. Get signed up for the newsletter, The Bivouac. North America's rally raid and adventure riding newsletter. Hey, let's have some fun. Let's find out what you guys up to. Let's get you featured. If you're a brand and looking to get supported, get some eyeballs, get some ears on your business, absolutely hit us up. Send us a message at podcast at Chasing Waypoints. But anyway, that is a wrap. Remember, shiny side up. See you guys.